Yo, it's my boy Shlomo. How are you?
Good, thanks. How about you?
Great, thanks. Let's get started with Shlomo Markelov. Are you familiar with the Shulchan Aruch?
Yeah, the Shulchan Aruch is a Jewish code of law written by Joseph Caro. These laws were necessary because there was a lot of conflict between established Jewish communities and new Jews arriving from the Spanish expulsion.
Wow, and why did the Jewish people ultimately follow this code of Jewish law?
Honestly, the only reason we followed this code is because we had to.
Oh, okay. And I know that with every change, people face challenges. So what challenges did you and the Jewish people face during the emergence of the Shulchan Aruch?
Wow, we faced so many. So rabbis and scholars kept changing, but the Shulchan Aruch did not have any halacha. So the scholars at the time had to decide based on their own opinions. And boy, let me tell you, that was a mess and extremely hard.
Wow.
There was also the issue that laws were made at a different time, so people did not have an understanding of why the laws were made the way they were. It was very challenging because society was evolving and beliefs were changing. Another issue was that people feared the Torah, Mishnah, and Talmud would be rejected.
Wow, so basically there were many conflicts in communities that were uprooted. The Shulchan Aruch questioned the halacha, causing chaos and disrupted how communities were running.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, okay. I have a few more questions if you don't mind me asking.
Nope, not at all.
Are you familiar with the Enlightenment movement?
Yep.
Can you explain a little bit about it, what it was, its goal, and if you and your family and friends supported it?
Yes, of course. Basically, the Enlightenment movement's main goal was to end oppression and religious intolerance. It was to achieve this by spreading Western education because people believed that it was a way to achieve full and equal partnership.
Now, did you and your family support the Enlightenment?
Me and my family were not the strongest supporters, but we were not opposed to it. The ultra-Orthodox, however, were extremely against it. The goal of Enlightenment was to attempt to integrate Jews with the European society. Many people, especially the ultra-Orthodox, fear this because it was a huge change in their lives. They now had to incorporate other nations' customs. For example, Moses Mendelssohn lived on my street, and he always preached about how Jews should follow Enlightenment so we could finally be accepted. He kept saying that the only way to leave the isolation of ghettos is by opening minds to non-Jewish knowledge. He believed that Jews should adopt the constitutions of other countries that they lived in. The ultra-Orthodox fear this because it developed tension with established religion.
How is the entire society affected by the Enlightenment?
Wow, so Enlightenment threatened medieval society for several reasons. The first being that it questioned the authoritative power by questioning how God gave them that power. Because the crown was received by lineage, this was a huge accusation to make. Another reason was because now that independence was encouraged, each person could make their own choices. Many authoritative figures feared this.
So I understand many people were against the Enlightenment because it threatened the crown and religion, but how did Enlightenment challenge Jews?
It challenged Jews because now some Christians did not believe that the Jews were equals. They thought that Jews needed to follow them. Additionally, people did not accept us, so it was hard to merge into a society that was not accepting. Another issue was that the Jews had to merge, and many were afraid to do so because it changed their entire way of life. They were so used to being separated.
So basically, challenges it caused the Jews to face were changing, merging, and being independent, causing people to rely on themselves.
Yeah.
All right, these are my last set of questions for you.
Okay.
Can you please explain to me what nationalism and emancipation is?
Yes, so nationalism is a group who belongs together and has a desire for national independence. And emancipation was when Jews were set free from legal, social, or political restrictions.
Now I'm assuming that one led to the other.
Yeah.
Can you please explain?
So basically, nationalism led to emancipation because nationalism would unify the Jews, causing them to be strong enough to be on their own. Also, it could have been that the government at the time thought that by emancipating us, the Jews, they would show more allegiance to the state they live in.
Wow, I'm assuming that caused a lot of challenges. Can you explain a few, please?
So, because nationalism and emancipation, Jews faced discrimination. Jews were being separated, so emancipation caused us to be mixed with society, which many people feared.
Wow, thank you so much for coming in. I learned a lot today.
Thanks so much for having me.
New edible Play-Doh. Now it's fun to play and fun to eat.
What curry would you like for me to make you? I will make you plenty of curry if you come to my restaurant at Jessica Baton's restaurant, the Curry House. Oh.
Hey, Rachel, thanks so much for coming. How are you?
Good, thanks. How about you?
Great, so I'm just going to shoot out some questions. What do you believe were the causes for the emergence of the modern Orthodox movement?
Well, during this time, there was a lot of intermarriage and assimilation, so that definitely was one of the causes. Another cause was the Jewish emancipation. Also, people attempted to change Judaism from how it was before, which was a way of life, and turned it into a religion. And with all these problems, no one wanted to deal with them. There were no modernized rabbis who wanted to confront reformers, so Hirsch decided to approach the crisis.
What do you believe were the defining characteristics of the modern Orthodox movement?
Well, this movement was pretty open to general culture, like non-Jewish literature from Shakespeare, Greek and Latin literature, and German philosophical literature. Another characteristic was that we made Torah our primary source and Derech Eretz our second. Derech Eretz allowed us to maintain Judaism and help the Jew in civilization, culture, and the arts. The last characteristic was that the rabbis were trying to expand and build up a flourishing Orthodox community.
Okay, so my last question is, how did the modern Orthodox movement respond to other emerging movements?
So I'm going to briefly summarize the other movements. The ultra-Orthodox movement was uninterested in integrating with the rest of society and becoming citizens because they believed in Jewish nationalism but not in nation nationalism. Additionally, they believed that the Shulchan Aruch is an important doctrine. As a modern Orthodox Jew, I do not agree with strong opposition on becoming citizens, but I do agree with this movement's stance on the Shulchan Aruch and it being a vital doctrine to Judaism. The next movement, the conservative movement, believed that laws should be determined based on logic and history. They also think that Jews should be nationalistic, which could be done by merging into society and learning the German practices. I do agree with part of the conservative movement beliefs, and however, I do feel that the Shulchan Aruch is an important doctrine to keep our Jewish history alive, and the conservative movement does not feel the same. The last movement was the Reform movement. We do not have much in common because we are complete opposites. They believe that we should assimilate a lot. For me and my friends and family, that is too much. I feel like we were to follow the Reform movement's ideas, then we would lose characteristics that define us as a Jew.